You recording? Everyone? Hello. Hello. Hi. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Great. So welcome to Design Teams Going On. My name's Alan Day. I'm joined by Jakob Steiner and Tobias Bernard. And we're here to talk on behalf of the design team. Not everyone is here today, but we're representing the wider group. And this talk is primarily an update on what the design team has been doing over the past 12 months. We gave a talk last year at GUADEC in Riga, where we gave a much more extensive kind of overview of what the design team has been doing and what we're working towards. This talk is a little bit smaller in scale, but we're going to, just talk about what we've been doing and what our plans are for the near future. A lot of what I'm going to present here, or we're going to present here, it's not just our work. There's a lot of other people involved, and what we're going to be talking about is the general state of GNOME user experience. So there's lots of people who are contributing to that. If you are interested in some of the longer-term projects and our longer-term plans, I would encourage you to go back and watch the talk from last year, because that's got a lot more information, a lot more context, and was a lot better prepared than this one. This is going to be a little bit interesting, because we've had to pull it together in a short space of time, so please be kind. Did I miss anything? Okay, so before I go on, I'd like to talk a little bit about the GNOME Design team. We are a fairly informal group. We're primarily made up of a number of people who've been involved in GNOME user experience work for a long time. That includes myself, Tobias and Jakob, who are on stage, but also Cassidy, who's busy in Denver helping to organize GUADEC over there, and Sam Hewitt, who has worked on GNOME Design for many years. We're also very lucky to have some new contributors who are getting involved, particularly in the shape of Braga, Jamie, and Laura. So we're very pleased to have them involved. And new contributors, great. So the team is growing, which is great. But yes, there are lots more people involved in this, and this is really just like really like the core of the design side, but there's lots and lots of other people involved. Right, and now I'll hand it over to Jakob.
Thank you, Alan. So the design team always puts me on stage because of my handsome looks. Unfortunately, there's a very hot summer day in Berlin, so I'm all sweaty and old because of the heat. So that part is sadly not very good, but I'm going to be talking about visual design. I'll start with things that I've been approached here about, which is icon design. I keep posting these sketches on Mastodon, and people get really interested. But what I want to talk about is that we have a very lovely process to get new app developers, get their app icon designed through the means of our little design community. So we have this app icon request repository where people are requesting their icon to be designed. Of course, we try to reach out outside of the GNOME space as well with FlatHub now. We just want to see high quality app icons also outside of GNOME itself. So as you can see, I mean, this big redesign that happened a couple of years back has really been delivering, from my perspective, rather than centralizing using icon themes, a concept that I don't think has worked very well. We have, if you look at FlatHub, we have many new apps coming from places like Circle. That's another very successful project for GNOME, where we have like a certain process to make sure that the app actually ships with a reasonable app icon. So I think this is, and also like many of the newcomers, of the design team also went through and do a fair bit of icon designing, because it's a very nice onboarding space to have quality contributions to design. It's really lovely. Another space where GNOME, I think, is really strong. Our brand comes across with really high-quality wallpapers, and you can tell, a GNOME desktop very, very easily by just looking at the default wallpapers. That continues. The upcoming release is going to feature more. How do they do it? Stephen Jobs would be like, yeah, there's going to be amazing, more amazing than ever before. It's the best release yet when it comes to wallpapers. No, seriously, I shouldn't get excited about formats, but I think it's great that the wallpapers are really tiny, and we can present more lovely artwork than before, because usually we had to do a lot of replacing. Now the replacing is not based on, we can't really ship that many wallpapers because it's too big, but it's about providing a nice selection of wallpapers that are, differ in the looks. We also updated the previous release. There's been some minor updates to the cursors. There's going to be more updates coming. I'm going to be talking later about platform. So the spinny things have changed. So there's updates on parts of the visuals as well. Another thing that I'm going to shortly mention is websites. There's been a big push, mainly by Alan, to find a reasonable alternative to the mainly dysfunctional wiki, where a lot of the information is just not up to date. A lot of effort is spent on fighting spam, and the good thing about our infrastructure is GitLab. And so many of the web projects focus around the community management, access, easy updates through GitLab. And there's two very important projects that Alan and team have been working on. One of them is the handbook project, which is this. This is where the most important stuff from the wiki, found the new place, but also a lot of new core essentials, how to become part of the GNOME community now exist. There's also a specific place for newcomers that Sophie has kicked off, which is called the Welcome website. There's other web projects that we're working on. They still haven't landed, but I'm quite excited about them. The main part is the main our user-facing website, which we want to update to the current visuals, and just from my perspective, just make sure that we present an up-to-date version of GNOME on the website than what's currently there. Another project, Felipe unfortunately didn't manage to come to Mini GUADEC, but he's been finally successful in moving Planet GNOME, which is the aggregator of personal blogs of GNOME people, to the 21st century, and so that project hopefully lands very soon, and I'm really excited. I shouldn't be, but this is the website that I'm really excited, because I usually, when I'm involved, I want to extinguish the biggest fires, and Planet GNOME is really outdated these days. And I'd like to give the word back to Alan for settings.
Okay, thanks, Jakob. I'm going to give a brief update on what's been happening on the user experience of the settings app since last year, 12 months ago. I'm not going to cover everything here. The settings project, or what was historically the control center, it's got this really amazing developer team around it now, lots of community engagement, and they're driving a lot of the user experience themselves, and often we're just kind of trying to help out where we can, which is fantastic. That's how we like things, and that's going really well. So there's so much activity there that I can't describe everything. I'm just going to give some of the highlights from my perspective, but believe me, there's a lot more, and a lot of credit that needs to go to those contributors for making all of that work happen. So one of the big changes we had for GNOME 46 is the new system panel. And one of the main goals behind this was to try and reduce the number of entry points at the beginning of the app, so that people don't just have this huge long list of potential categories to search through. So this helps to just overall make the navigation experience a lot easier for people. And I think so far this seems to be performing very well. And I've had some positive feedback about it, so this is very welcome. And it also gives us a place where we can add other new things to the settings app in a navigation structure that makes sense and doesn't continually grow out of hand. We've had a number of new settings added to the touchpad settings, particularly secondary click, and also I can't remember. There's more. But this is part of an effort to make sure that all the key settings that we do have available on the platform are properly exposed. Some of these were only available in the Tweaks app previously. We're trying to make it possible for people to use all the settings they need without having to go to another utility. And this panel has been one particular area where we've been doing that. So that's really great. And I think having it here and presented in this clear way with the little instruction videos and so on is really helpful from an onboarding and a documentation perspective, because it means that people can go into the settings and see how it's supposed to work. And I have to say, after 15 years plus of using GNOME, I've been working on it as a designer, I didn't understand exactly how all the touchpad stuff worked until we actually did this. So I have found it very educational. We've had a lot of work around online accounts, which is fantastic. Some of that work has been supported by Sovereign Tech Fund, so thank you, Sovereign Tech Fund, that's brilliant. A lot of that work happened under the hood, but there's also been a user experience refresh, and all the UI has been improved as part of that, and we've been involved in that, so that's great. This is all things that happened in GNOME 46, the last stable release. And one final change there that I'm going to mention is the remote login, which this is just on the surface, the settings part of it. Like, the majority of the work happened elsewhere as part of this new feature that was added to the system. But we've been supporting that effort with the settings design for that new feature. Okay. We do have some, sorry, before I hand this over, I just remembered, there are a lot of things that are coming in the upcoming version of settings, which I don't have images for here, but we are currently working on. That includes a new digital well-being settings panel, which Philip is working on. We've got improvements to the power settings that are hopefully coming, and many other things. So this is an active area as far as the design team is concerned. Now, Tobias.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm gonna be talking a little bit about a few system things. As you can see, like the slides here are not super fleshed out. Yeah, we've long had this interest in parental controls along with digital well-being more generally, and this is finally sort of happening, at least like the first parts of it, thanks to Philip and I think a grant from the Endless Foundation or something via the GNOME Foundation. So this is actually being worked on, and like the parts that are not going to land this cycle are going to land next cycle or in the future. I think at this point we don't quite know what's going to land. Watch Philip's talk. But yeah, this is actively being worked on at a system level. Another one that's kind of difficult to show is the home encryption work that Adrian and others and the systemd people and everyone have been working on as part of the SDF grant and other interested parties who have been helping. And the idea here is basically just improving the security of like the computer in various states. For example, when it's locked or suspended, like allowing the actual like home directory to remain encrypted. There are a number of like UX-related issues that need to be resolved to make that work well. Some of which are still being figured out. For example, like the multi-user thing is very tricky because you need some ButterFS features, and so there's a lot of complicated stuff to this. But the TLDR is that like in, I don't know, 1 or 2 cycles, like we're gonna have really good encryption for home directories as part of like HomeD support. Another one that's also been worked on in many small pieces, but also some large pieces, is accessibility and Orca in particular, the screen reader. So from the design side, Sam Hewitt has been working on sort of helping people with like design aspects of accessibility across the stack, but also like just literally fixing a lot of bugs in, for example, GNOME Shell, the style sheet, like fixing high contrast and so on. And there's also some longer term stuff here that I was thinking about including the mockups, but they look kind of boring. It's just like a bunch of lists and like switches and so on for the Orca settings, which if you've ever seen them, they are installed on all your computers. You can open them. Somehow I'm like super sure why, but like how, but look it up. And if you look at the current ones, it's like the most old like sort of GTK3 thing possible. And there is a plan to like bring that to more modern design. When exactly it's going to happen, I think it depends more on implementation, but there are some really good things happening in accessibility at the moment there. And a final thing here that Julian has been working on, I think, for 2 years off and on, and it's now finally landed, is remember when we had like these generated avatars, like whatever, since 5 years or something, we've had like generated avatars as the default, and they never really looked in line with the ones we use everywhere else because complicated reasons like the widget couldn't be embedded in GNOME Shell and I don't know, a lot of complicated stuff. But now finally we have the good new ones in GNOME Shell on the login screen, which I'm very, very happy about. It's the kind of thing where you see people like in the wild using like a default GNOME setup, and like it bugs me every time so much, and now it's finally fixed. So if you still have one of these old ones, like remove the thing and it'll reset to this good one. Right, that's it for System. I'm giving it back to Jakob.
All right, I'm going to be talking about a platform, which is one of the great things that app developers are really enjoying. I'll start with the spinner. You saw that I presented one of the cursors, and those changes were driven by the changes on the platform. So libwoodwider now is able to render, thanks to the great work of Alice, to render a proper widget for the progressing state. You're seeing a static image. I just had, but I think I have the the sort of design stage. We went through a couple of spinners, and I feel like I should be just standing still, just to confuse somebody when they're watching the YouTube stream. All right, yeah. So this is one of the things. I'm gonna do a demo at the end of this segment. So the spinner is coming, so it's gonna be rendered. This is probably the most visible context where our old spinner didn't work quite well. We just used an icon that we spinned with CSS, but rendering our symbolics at larger sizes makes them kind of bold, weighty, so it doesn't look as good as what we have now. There's new widgetry. Most of them are like great for are addressing the adaptiveness, so they're really great for either the mobile use case or just like having smaller window sizes, dialogues. Again, we had the sort of edge dialog buttons for forever, but this again is great for being adaptive, and also relates to another thing that I'm going to talk about very soon. We're switching software to render a typeface. It's hopefully we're going to iron out a couple of decisions that need to be made, because into our new default typeface, in many contexts there's decisions that need to be made. But I think like you saw us. It's usually, for me personally, when I start using something new and then don't want to go back to the old stuff, we're in a good spot, and I really, really don't want to go to the old stuff. So hopefully, GNOME 47, we will be switching to a new typeface for the UI. A big change that we're rolling out with 47 is going to be a customizability-focused feature called accent colors. So there's a balance to strike between customizability and like being able to test your apps and making sure that stuff remains legible. And different contexts can be challenging with things like the warning and other contexts. But I think we are getting there, striking a good balance. There's going to be a few changes on the wallpaper side to like color match with the selected colors still, but I think it's looking pretty good. The core apps are all respecting the user provided accent colors. I'm going to demo a few things, which is going to be a very exciting demo, and it's going to work. And so first thing, I don't know. I'll do the spinner, because the spinner is like, it's moving, so it's exciting. Yeah, so this is the spinner. And you will notice it spins, but like the acceleration part does not happen at the same spot. It's just, which is great for if you want to render it into like our boot animation. It takes way too many frames to do that. So we have also the cursors are also simplified. So the actual platform spinner is more sophisticated than the other ones. Is there anything else? Bottom sheet, multi-layout. So there's a new widget that like allows to switch the layout depending on the window size. So you see a sidebar, but if there's not enough room, it's actually a bottom bar. And also like, this becomes like, if it's very narrow. Exciting demo. All right, core apps.
Of course, for the platform work, a special shout has to go to Alice, who drives a lot of that work. Yeah. Okay, I will attempt to summarize everything that has been happening in our core application suite in the past year in the space of 5 minutes. I'm going to miss some things. I'm really sorry to anyone if I've missed something important. I've done my best, but there's so much ground to cover that there's undoubtedly going to be something important that isn't included here. Sincere apologies in advance. So one of the big long-running projects that we've had around our application user experience has been the port to GTK4 from GTK3. That's a technical project, but it also has a lot of significant user experience changes built into it. And we've made some really excellent progress in that initiative over the past 12 months. So GNOME 46 included new GTK4 ports for the document scanner app, the system monitor, and we've had, I really do have 5 minutes. And we've also had the disks GTK4 ports merged. That isn't in a stable release yet, but is being worked towards. And really now this project's getting towards its tail end. I think we've only got a few core apps left to port to GTK4, so that's really fantastic. We've also got some other GTK4 ports that are in the works. This is Papers, which is a new GTK4-based fork of Evince, which is now also GTK4. It's like buses. You wait around for one GTK4 document viewer and then two come along at once. We've got some new apps coming in, which is really exciting. This is the new Decibels app, which has been implemented by a new member to the community. So that's really exciting. Like, we did the design work for this, and then someone turned up with the implementation. Absolutely amazing. This is intended as a companion to the music player. So whereas the music player is primarily designed as a collection browser or a collection-based experience, primarily for music, this is an app which is specifically designed for playing standalone audio files, which generally aren't music. So that's the kind of distinction that we're making. People might not use it a huge amount, but it's a useful app to have in the suite and fills a gap, so that's great. We've got another new app that's currently in the incubation phase, which is Showtime, which Laura is working on, and we're involved closely with that process. That's very exciting to have a modern GTK4-based video player in the works. We've also had a number of significant initiatives around existing core apps and making design updates there. In GNOME 46, the Files app was a particular focus for that. This screenshot here is showing the new global search feature with this search everywhere button. So this is intended to allow it easily going from a very specific local search in a particular directory to searching all indexed locations. And it provides a direct route into search when you maybe don't want to have to think about where exactly it is that you're searching. You just know that you just want to enter the file name or search in the file contents and get there much more quickly than having to click through. So that's great, and we have some more plans around how to make more of that search feature in future releases. We also had an update to the long-running operations UI, which isn't shown here, but that was another major change for GNOME 46. And we've got more changes coming in 47, particularly looking at the sidebar, but also plenty of other smaller changes. And again, Files and Nautilus is another app where there's a very healthy community around that app, and a lot of that is thanks to Antonio, who we have in the room. So big thanks to Antonio for that. Yeah, and we're very happy. We love being in that place of having those community teams that are really engaged with user experience and really understand user experience, and we're able to be partners to that process. Like we're very much kind of just working in collaboration. So a few words on plans that we have for the future. These are just a few mock-ups that I found in our repository of things that are yet to be implemented. We don't have particular plans, or like this is ongoing work. These are future directions that we'd like to go in for the core apps. So we've got a set of designs for a modernized system monitor, which is something that could be interesting. We've got outstanding design work that we're interested in looking at around the grid view in files and how to make that more engaging and visually attractive and useful. And we even have, this is a slightly older mock-up you can see, but this is still something we're interested in, and having a font manager app, like building some more management capabilities into the existing GNOME Fonts app. There are lots of other things that we'd like to be doing. And so if there is anyone who's interested in doing core app work, do come and speak to us, because that's something we always want to talk about. Right, I'm sorry, Tobias.
I'll bring us home. It was not much. So yeah, a little bit about the shell. Yeah, I think we don't super need to talk about it, but last cycle in 45, the not last cycle, the one before, we landed the activities indicator replacement for the old activities button. I think you've all seen it. We don't need to talk about it. And in the most recent cycle, or in the most recent 2 cycles, Julian and others have put a lot of work into notifications. Some of those things have landed in 46 already. So like there's expanding, there's bigger icons, there's all kinds of nice visual changes. And going forward, we want to do even more on top of that, including grouping by app. A number of sort of spec-related changes that are going to make things just nicer in general. And then in a future step after that, also grouping by thread. So you like actually have nicely sort of organized notifications. 2 more things that are sort of potentially still planned for 47. One is this user login grid that we've designed in 2018 or something, a very long time ago, and has so far never happened, but we would still like it to happen, and maybe it's actually going to happen this cycle. So that would be exciting. or not, no promises. And the other one is this, which there is ongoing work for, which is enterprise login support for like single sign-on systems that various corporate deployments have. And I think there's like various connected things to this that are going to enable, I don't know, future login things with whatever FIDO support and so on. Not my area of expertise, but yeah, potentially also 47. And with that, a few thanks to some of the people who have helped us make all of this happen. I think we've already mentioned Alice, Florian, who maintains GNOME Shell. Everything, yes, GNOME Shell from the UI side in particular. Julian, who's been doing the work in notifications. Angelo, who made the Decibels app. Sonny for organizing everything along SDF and everything else. Felipe, who maintains, I think, most of settings, or all of settings. Automeres is someone who just shows up in all the places on GitLab where like something is slightly wrong with the HIG and just like fixes it. It's very cool. Thanks to them. Maximiliano for various things around the stack, libadwaita, snapshot, and everything else. Disks. Antonio, already mentioned them, but can never mention them enough, for files. And Philip for the work on parental controls and well-being and also everything else, glib and so on. So yeah, thanks so much. And of course, there are many, many more people who are not mentioned here, but the slide is only so big. And yeah, probably I forgot someone important. But thanks to all of them as well. So yeah, you can get involved in GNOME Design in, for example, these places, or come talk to us. And thank you very much. That's all it. I'm guessing we have no time for questions. We're well over, right? Yeah, okay. Then if you have questions, come find us later. Thank you.
I'm going to basically repeat that. If anybody has questions.